The regent ordered me to lure his enemies, but I was instead imprisoned at the top of the tower. The regent called me the kingdom's hope. Now I know I am its curse. Candlelight cast shadows across my face. Not ordinary candles, church tapers, pure white beeswax, burning with a scent near divine. But in this room, that fragrance twisted into something sinister, like death masking rot with perfume. Count Sherman, the regent, sat across from me, his fingertips pressed into a perfect triangle. His deep purple velvet robe bore the kingdom's crest, an eagle in flight. That eagle seemed ready to strike or be struck. I couldn't tell. "Eleanor," he said, my name rolling off his tongue like fine wine. "I hear your father is a border merchant." Not a question. 3 years in the northern court had taught me the difference. Questions sought answers, statements gave orders. "Yes, my lord." My knees bent slightly under my wide skirts, the first move I'd learned as a handmaiden. For 3 years, I'd used it to hide not my body, but my thoughts. A merchant's daughter. He repeated it, eyes narrowing in the candlelight. "Fascinating. Merchants know geography, trade routes, connections often better than nobles. Your father must have taught you much." I stayed silent. Silence was a weapon I'd mastered. The regent rose, gliding to a wooden cabinet in the corner, like a predator stalking prey. I heard the creak of hinges, the rustle of parchment. He returned, placing a map before me. Not an ordinary map, a strategic one. Northern lands in blue, the eastern dukes in red, borders marked in black. At the heart of the red lay a single golden point. "What is it?" I asked. I shouldn't have. Good handmaidens stayed quiet. But my father taught me merchants always ask first to control the conversation. The regent's lips curved. "Blackstone Keep, Duke Aemon Cate's stronghold." His finger lingered on the golden mark. "Have you heard of him?" Everyone in the palace had. Aemon, the eastern legend, had ruled his chaotic lands with an iron fist for 20 years, forging them into a fortress. He never attended northern feasts, never bowed to the king. Whispers spoke of a hidden feud with the regent, a current running deep between kingdoms, rarely surfacing. "Some, my lord," I said cautiously. "He's a threat," the regent said lightly, as if discussing the weather. "Not for his strength, though he is strong, but because he knows too many secrets. Secrets are poison. The longer they're kept, the deadlier they become. And he," the regent paused, "he's an excellent vault." I began to understand why he'd chosen me. "You want me to go there," I said, no longer asking. His eyes flickered with approval. "As a prelude to alliance." He cut me off. "The Duke has never married, but every man has a weakness. Some crave power, others gold. I believe Aemon's might be beauty, or a woman clever and captivating enough." He stepped closer, offering his hand. I wanted to recoil but didn't. My fingers rested in his. His palm was warm, but it carried a chill, the frost of power that could numb the marrow. "Your family will gain honor," he said, his voice softening, making his words deadlier. "A merchant's daughter wed to the eastern duke, a splendid tale. Your father will hold charters for all northern trade routes. Your brother will be knighted. Your name will live in history." He paused, letting the promises simmer. "But only," he continued, "if you succeed." "What does success mean?" My voice trembled. I tried to steady it, but failed. The regent released my hand, returning to his seat like a king awaiting a performance. "It means I learn what Aemon thinks, his army's size, his allies, his secrets." He counted them on his fingers, as if tallying goods, especially secrets. "A solitary man hoards many." "You want me to," I couldn't say it. "Be my eyes." He finished for me. "That's all. No need to kill. Nothing excessive, just observe, remember, and report when the time comes." Simple for a clever woman. I stared at the map. At that golden point, I imagined the keep tall, cold, lonely, like me in that moment. What if I refuse? The question slipped out. Foolish. Good handmaidens didn't ask such things. But I was done pretending. The regent's face didn't change, but disappointment flickered in his eyes, more dangerous than anger. Then your family loses all charters. His tone was calm, a prophecy. You'll be named a witch, you know herb lore, don't you? Your father will testify against you to save himself, claiming half your wealth. A chill clawed my spine. This wasn't a threat, it was a plan, every branch mapped, every choice accounted for. Your sister Marlene. Yes, he went on. Each word a blade. 15. Works in the palace weave, house, a pretty girl. If your family falls to ruin and disgrace, well, you know what happens to pretty girls in poverty. My mouth opened, but no sound came. But if you go east, he said, his voice warm, almost kind. Your family thrives. Your sister weds a noble. Your father rules a trade empire. Your name is revered, not scorned. A perfect trap. No ropes, no chains. I need time, I began. You have 3 days. An escort arrives then. They'll take you east. You'll be presented as a merchant's daughter, clever and lovely, enamored of Duke. Aemon's legend, you'll draw close, but not eagerly, gain his trust. Then, he didn't finish. He didn't need to, my lord, I said in a handmaiden's voice. If I succeed, what then? I can't stay east forever. The Duke will learn the truth. The regent smiled the coldest smile I'd ever seen. If you succeed, he said, you won't need to worry about eventually, because… He paused for effect. Aemon will be dead, the words echoed, a bell tolling in my skull. I don't kill, I said, I know. He rose, moving to the door. But you will with your wit, your beauty, your presence. You'll make him foolish, and a foolish man dies easily. The door opened. 2 guards stood outside. I realized I'd been watched all along. Return to your room, Pack. The regent's voice was final. In 3 days, my finest pawn departs. I returned to my narrow chamber deep in the palace, a bed, a wooden chest. It had always been mine, but now it felt like a cell. I opened the chest, gathering my life. A black handmaiden's gown, a deep blue banquet dress. My mother's diary, half its pages blank. My father's trade notes, towns, prices, contacts. All of it worth less than a life. Outside snow fell, heavy and wet, as if the sky wept. In my diary I wrote, I am the kingdom's pawn, or I'm meant to be. But if a pawn knows it's a pawn, knows every move risks death, is it still a pawn? 3 nights later the escort came, silent as shadows. They arrived at midnight. Hooves echoed, armor clinked. I was led to the stables, where a black horse waited. The Captain Ryan had eyes like ice. He spoke little, only pointing east. We reached the northern border in 3 days, he said. Northern soldiers take you to the eastern line, then you belong to the east. Belong. A strange word. I'd never belonged anywhere. Now I'd belong to a stranger. A man from legends. We rode into a blizzard. Hooves crunched on frozen ground. The palace faded into the storm. I glanced back, one light, perhaps the regent's candle, flickered, then vanished. 3 hours out, a massive explosion roared from the north. Ryan calmed the spooked horses. What was that? I asked. None of your concern. But I knew. I'd heard such sounds. The regent erasing evidence. Someone knew too much. A handmaiden, a guard. Anyone who'd seen his true intent. I understood why he chose me. Not just for my wit or my family's leverage. Because I was expendable. If I failed, if I was caught, I'd vanish. A broken tool, burned away. No questions asked. We rode through the night. Snow thickened, paths blurred, but Ryan never faltered, driving us east. On horseback, the wind stung my cheeks, melting snow into cold trails down my face, or perhaps tears. I couldn't tell. The regent called me the kingdom's hope. Now I knew I was its curse. And Blackstone Keep awaited the curse's arrival. The moment a pawn knows it's a pawn, it's no longer just a pawn. Blackstone Keep appeared at dusk. We'd crossed the northern border. The snow halted. The sky bled sickly gray, purple like a corpse's skin. On the horizon, the fortress loomed, a beast's jagged tooth rising from the earth. Taller and darker than I'd imagined. Its walls were hewn from deep gray stone, blood-like in the fading sun. 7 towers stabbed the sky, like fingers clawing at the heavens. The moat, wide and frozen, showed no thaw. This cold was eternal. The gates stood open. No soldiers barred us. No sentries questioned. Ryan urged his horse forward. I followed. My mount whinnied, sharp and fearful, hooves clattering on cobblestones. Quiet, I whispered, trying to calm it with my own steadiness. But I was terrified. Inside, the keep was more unsettling than without. Corridors stretched long and cold, torches flickering on stone walls, shadows writhing like living things. We passed countless rooms, doors shut tight, hiding secrets. At last, we stopped before massive double doors, black, reinforced with unfamiliar metal, carved with an eagle like the northern crest. But this eagle's eyes were open, sharp, glaring at something foul. "Enter," Ryan said. "Don't lie." Strange advice. My entire mission was a lie. The doors swung open silently. The hall was vast, its ceiling high. Candelabras lined the walls, flames dancing in an unseen draft. No windows. A long table spanned the center, laden with food and goblets. But few people, perhaps 20, clad in Eastern colors, deep teal and silver, like frozen midnight. All eyes turned to me. I stepped forward, summoning the grace I'd learned in the palace, spine straight, gaze soft, smile measured. A merchant's daughter should seem confident, not arrogant. Then he appeared. He emerged from the hall's far end, moving slowly, each step heavy with power. His black robe bore the Eastern crest, a lone wolf. His face was pale, as if sunless. Eyes dark brown, nearly black, cold as winter rivers. Hair black, close, cropped, sharpening every line of his face. "Duke Aemon." He stopped before me. I curtsied, but he didn't bid me rise. He studied me, as if unsure I was real. "You are Eleanor," he said, voice low, a whisper that filled the room. "Merchant's daughter, sent by the regent." Not a question, a statement, and he knew. "Yes, my lord," I said, my voice steady, proud of it. "The regent suggested I visit and spy on my secrets," he interrupted. "Probe my defenses, report my army's size, my allies, my—" He stepped closer, "my weaknesses." My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Every eye in the room waited. "I don't know what you mean, my lord," I lied, clinging to my script. "I only what?" His voice sharpened, a blade. "A woman sent to seduce me, to poison me, a spy." Each word struck like a blow. I didn't know which was true, but it didn't matter now. My voice faltered. Aemon turned to his attendants. "Take her to the topmost room." His tone was calm, final. "Let her ponder why the regent sent her." Attendants approached, not rough, but efficient. They took my arms, guiding me toward the door. "Wait," I cried, grasping at desperation. "Please, what?" Aemon turned, his dark eyes locking on mine. Not anger, something else, disappointment. "I'm a pawn," I blurted, unplanned, unscripted. "I didn't want to be, but I am." The regent threatened my family. He said if I didn't come, my sister, your sister, his gaze sharpened. Sold to a brothel, raped, killed, the regent's favorite threats. He trades women's safety for their loyalty. Yes, I admitted, tears welling. I fought them, but lost. He said all of it. Aemon stepped close. His attendants didn't stop him. He brushed a tear from my cheek with his thumb, gentle, yet charged with strange power. "How many women has he sent to spy on me?" he asked. "I don't know, only what I was told." "What does the regent want?" "Your army, your allies, your—" I hesitated, the last word. A betrayal, though I'd prepared to betray all. "Your secrets." Aemon's lips twitched. A smile without warmth. "Secrets." He savored the word. "Very well. I'll give you one to take back." He faced the hall. "Hear me, all." His voice boomed, laced with threat. "This woman is a spy. The regent sent her to uncover us. She's caught." Murmurs rose, shifting feet, drawn steel. But, Aemon continued, I won't kill her. That's too easy. I'll let her live. Let her see the truth. Let her taste real power, then, perhaps, she'll return to the regent and tell him his game is over. He turned to me, eyes pinning me. You want my secrets? I'll give them. Not here. Not now. He snapped his fingers. 2 female guards stepped forward. Take her to the top room, he said. Food, clean clothes, all she needs. But she doesn't leave. Yes, my lord, they replied. I was led from the hall. Behind me, Aemon's voice continued, but I caught only his final words. A curse. The moment a pawn knows it's a pawn, it's no longer just a pawn. Before the tower, the guards led me up countless stairs. I counted 13 steps, then 14, then 15. The pattern soothed me. Numbers were rational, controllable if I could master them. Perhaps I could master this fear. But at the tower's peak, I stopped counting. The window was massive, nearly a full wall. It revealed the east-distant mountains, nearby villages, forests, all cloaked in snow, touched by death. The room defied expectation. I'd braced for a dungeon, cold, dark, damp. Instead, it was warm. A fireplace crackled in the corner. A large bed bore thick quilts. A bookshelf brimmed with tomes. A vanity held mirrors, combs. If you need anything, ring the bell, a guard said, pointing to a small copper bell. We'll hear. Will you always listen outside? I asked. Yes, my lady. My lady, I couldn't tell if it was mockery or respect. The guards brought food, bread, cheese, fruit, wine, a deep blue gown finer than any I'd owned. They worked silently, efficiently when they left. The door stayed unlocked. This was more confusing than a locked cell. I sat by the window watching the snow. My reflection showed a stranger my face, but eyes filled with unfamiliar fear. I began to understand Aemon's choice. Killing me was simple. Keeping me alive, showing me truth, this was deeper punishment. A torment of the mind. In that moment, I had no choices. The regent set my beginning. Aemon shaped my present. I could only wait for their next move. But in my reflection, I saw a spark, faint. Desperate, but there. I couldn't choose my fate. I didn't escape. I waited in that room. 3 days. Each day, Aemon came once, standing at the door, watching. He said nothing, just assessed, recalculated. On the 3rd evening, he spoke. You're still here, he said. You didn't try to flee. Where to? I asked. The window's too high, guards at the door. I have no choices. Everyone has choices, he said. You chose to stay, to wait. Curious, most women would scream, weep, try to manipulate me, but you did nothing. Because I know, I said. Doing nothing might be the cleverest move. His eyes crinkled. Almost a smile, but his mouth didn't move. Tomorrow, I'll tell you why the regent truly sent you. Are you ready for the truth? I have no choice in being ready, I replied. Exactly. He turned to leave, pausing at the door. Good night, Eleanor, tomorrow. The true beginning that night, I barely slept. I lay in the strange bed, listening to the tower's winds, whispering secrets I couldn't grasp. They repeated the same mournful wail. I thought of the regent. Had he noticed my absence? Was he planning war on Aemon or a new scheme for my failure? I thought of Aemon. What did he know? Why spare me? Why this comfortable prison? Most of all, I thought of myself. Who was I? The regent's tool or something else, unmasked by Aemon. I'd heard tales of women caught in power's games. Some gained strength, some lost all, some vanished, as if they'd never been. I didn't know my fate, but at dawn, as the sun lit the snow, sparkling like stars, I made a choice. I'd hear the truth. Then I'd decide. I'd no longer be a pawn, or I'd be a pawn who knew its place, and that was power. Aemon came in the morning, still in his black robe, but his eyes were different. He sat in an armchair, ready for a long talk. Now, he said, let me tell you what the regent truly wants. Freedom and captivity are separated by an unlocked door. Aemon didn't tell a story. He spoke a name. Lisa. He sat in the armchair, gazing at the snow beyond the window. My sister. I said nothing. I didn't know the name's weight, but his tone carried enough to crush a kingdom. 2 years ago, Eamon continued, the regent sent a woman, Erin, a noble's daughter, beautiful, clever, fluent in tongues. She spoke of peace, of easing tensions between our lands. He paused, rubbing his temples, chasing a painful memory. I believed her, or chose to. I was weary. 20 years ruling the East, every decision costing lives. Erin offered a chance, no more blood. She was I began, betrothed. Yes. And, his voice dropped, barely audible. I loved her. The words hung. A tolling bell. Eamon, bearing vulnerability for the first time. Lisa was thrilled, he went on. She'd seen nothing beyond Eastern courts. Erin was kind to her. They became friends. I'd see Erin teaching Lisa northern dances, northern songs. A tear traced his cheek, untouched. I thought I'd found the life I was meant for. What happened? I asked, knowing no good answer awaited. Poison. One word, a tragedy. Not common. Ancient, known only to the church's alchemists. Slow 3 months to act. No symptoms until... He couldn't continue. Lisa died at dawn, he said quickly, shedding the sentence. In my arms, Erin had fled north. When I pursued, the regent gave her a new name, a new life. He shielded her. Why? I asked. Why do this? To see me break. Eamon's eyes met mine, raw with anger, pain, cold resolve. To drive me to grief, fueled mistakes. To spark war with the North, giving him cause to crush me, to paint me a mad tyrant, crazed by a lost lover. But you didn't. Number Eamon nodded. I did what he didn't expect. I survived. I bore the grief, but it didn't consume me. He stood, facing the window, back to me. Now you see why he sent you, to repeat the tale, to make me trust another woman sent by him, to lower my guard. Then, at the perfect moment, you'd vanish, poison, dagger, whatever he deemed fit. I'd lose someone vital again this time. I'd break. This time, he'd have his war. A chill gripped me. The regent's scheme was deeper, crueler than I'd dreamed. I won't play his game, I said. My family. I know. Eamon turned. That's why I didn't kill you. You're like Lisa, a victim of the regent's games. What will you do? I asked. Keep me here forever. Yes, Eamon said. Until I decide your next step. The rhythm of captivity time lost meaning in the tower. No markers of day or night. The guards brought food irregularly. Candles burned constantly. No darkness to gauge hours. Only the window's light distinguished day gray. Not bright, even at noon. First week, I tried to escape. The window 30 meters down, a fatal drop. The door unlocked, but 2 guards outside. They wouldn't kill me, but they'd return me. Second week, I read. The shelf held histories of the East, tomes on magic superstition to a rational mind. Medicine, poisons. One detailed the poison Eamon described, sleeper, lulling victims into permanent sleep over 3 months. I read every page. Why? To understand the regent's mind, the heart that crafted such plots. Third week, Eamon visited. Each dusk he came, staying 30 minutes to an hour. Sometimes he spoke, sometimes he sat, watching the snow. Sometimes we discussed my books. Reading about poisons? He asked one evening, noting the tome on my lap. Yes, no point hiding it. To understand the regent's mind. Why? To understand why I'm here. Eamon sat beside me, close enough for his scent: cedar, cold metal, fire. Poison needs a giver and a taker, he said. But in the regent's game, all are both. Lisa was a victim, but so was Erin, forced to be a killer. And you? I asked. What are you? The audience. Eamon said. Then now, I'm trying to be the director. His gaze pierced me, a bottomless well. Want to know my plan for you? Yes, I haven't decided. He stood, moving to the door. I'm waiting. For what? He paused. To see if you'll try to use me. Every woman sent has. I want to see if you're different. Secrets in the window. Fourth week. While washing, I found something. Behind the basin, faint scratches in the stone. Not decoration words, carved in haste. I traced them, crude but legible. Aaron was here. She says she loves him. But she lies. She counts down 3 days. My pulse raced. Aaron in this room. She knew it was a trap, knew she was a killer. Why leave this? A warning, a confession. More scratches on the window frame, a date last year's, a name. Carved deeper. Amon, below, a near, poem. I wanted to escape, but there's nowhere to go. I wanted love, but love is the trap. Forgive me if you can. Forgive me if you can't. I sat by the window, pondering Aaron's mind, victim or willing killer, desperate warning or ritual before murder. That evening, I asked Amon, "Did you know Aaron was in this room?" "Yes," she left words on the frame. "I know. You didn't erase them." He touched his name on the frame. "I keep them to remind me," he said, "how easily I was deceived, how dangerous trust is, but you trusted her. You loved her." "Yes," he faced me. "That's why I didn't kill her." "You forgave her." "Not entirely, but I understood. The regent controlled her as he does me. Differently, he used threats on me, love on her. He told her failure meant ruin, her family destroyed, her life nothing. She believed him, her second chance after her first collapsed. Why leave the words? Even in despair, humans need to prove they existed. They chose even if the choice was wrong. He sat beside me, staying past his usual time, into the deep night. "Want a secret?" he asked. "What?" "Your room isn't a prison," he pointed to the door. "It's never been locked. You can leave any time." Shock hit me. "What?" "If you want to escape," Amon said, "leave the tower, leave me. This mess you can. No one will stop you. I'll ensure you reach the north safely." "Why?" I asked. "Why offer this? Freedom can't be given. It must be chosen. Forced freedom is another cage." His eyes gleamed in the dark. "The regent offered freedom if you succeeded. I offer it now. No conditions. Show me your choice. If I leave, I'll know you're his tool, as you seem. I'll act accordingly. If I stay, then perhaps I'll believe something real exists in a world of betrayal and poison." He stood, moving to the door. "Freedom and captivity are separated by an unlocked door you choose." He left. The night of choice I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, stars frozen like tears. I heard the keep below horses, footsteps, distant wolf howls. Amon hadn't lied. I could leave down the stairs, through corridors out of the keep. His guards might truly let me pass. I could escape. I thought of my family. The regent promised honor, wealth but threatened ruin. If I fled north, he'd deem me failed. Enact Plan B, kill me. Harm my sister. But if I stayed, if I chose this unlocked room, these meetings with Amon, I'd betray the regent, my mission. I'd choose something, though I wasn't sure what. Perhaps trust, love, hope, the most dangerous thing for a merchant's daughter. Dawn came. Guards brought breakfast. I ate bread, drank water. At dusk, Amon returned. "What did you choose?" he asked. No greeting. "I'm still here," I said. "That's not an answer." "I know." I stood, stepping close. "I choose to stay. Not from fear of leaving. Not because I have nowhere else, but because," I searched for words. "Because." Because I want to know what happens next. Because your story, Lisa. I don't know what I am, but I want to find out. Amon studied me, searching for lies. Then he extended his hand. "Welcome to no longer being a pawn," he said. "Now, let me show you Blackstone Keep's secrets. I didn't come to kill you. I came to see if the regent's woman was worth keeping alive." Amon didn't show me secrets. First came the interrogation. not the kind with chains or threats. No horrors from palace whispers. We sat in a study, before a roaring hearth, hot wine in hand, a conversation that cut deeper than any blade. "You're Eleanor," Eamon began, lounging in his chair, relaxed but watchful. "Is that your true name?" "Yes." "Your father's name, Simon, siblings?" "One brother, Yefeng, one sister, Marlene." "Do you love them?" The question caught me. Not if I cared if I loved, a vast difference. "Yes," I said at last. "Enough to die for them?" "Yes." "Enough to kill for them?" I didn't answer. Eamon seemed to know it already. "The regent saw this," he said. "He knew threatening your family would leash you. It's brutally effective. Most would do anything to protect those they love." He sipped his wine. "But some wouldn't. Some would sacrifice loved ones over their conscience. Which are you?" "I don't know," I admitted. "I've never faced that choice." "Now you have. You chose to stay. Not flee north to save your family." "What does that say?" "That I realized," I said. "No matter what I do, the regent will harm them. So, betraying him might be the only meaningful act left." Eamon's lips twitched. "Go on." "My family's already in his game, win or lose. The only way to break the cycle is to ruin his plan." "If I can," I stopped, hearing my own words. "Protect them," Eamon finished. "By allying with me. Helping me against the regent." "Yes." He rose, standing before the fire. Flames painted him half man, half demon. "Do you know what the regent truly wants?" he asked. "Number, but you'll tell me. Power, absolute, boundless power." Eamon's voice was soft, venomous. "The North weakens. The king's been ill for years. The regent rules, but not in name. He needs a cause to seize power," I said, understanding. "A war. An outside threat." "Exactly." Eamon faced me. "The East is that threat. If he proves I'm plotting invasion, or that I killed a northern woman, his woman, he rallies the nobles. War lets him purge rivals, control resources, become tyrant." "I'm his final pawn," I said. "Yes, he hopes I'll break at your death, or you'll poison me, and he'll blame the East, claiming you a mad assassin, me your puppet. Either way, he wins, but you saw through it." "I have eyes in the North," Eamon said. "Even in the regent's court. I knew a woman named Eleanor was coming. Her cover, her weaknesses, I've been waiting." "Why, for a chance." He stepped closer. "The regent thinks he controls the board. He doesn't. If I strip you from his game, I turn the tables." "How?" "That's what I'll tell you," Eamon said. "But first I need to know you'll join me, not from fear, not threats, but for other reasons." He closed the distance, his face inches from mine. I saw every detail: bloodshot veins, the dark depths hiding something I couldn't name. "One last question," he said. "If helping me costs everything, your name, your family, your life, will you still do it?" I didn't hesitate. "Yes." His hand brushed my cheek, gentle but startling. "I didn't come to kill you," he said. "I came to see if the regent's woman was worth keeping alive. Now I know, you are." He left, leaving me by the fire, heart pounding, unsure why. The night's plan: next day, Eamon led me to Blackstone's depths, steep stairs, ancient, damp stone, air growing colder. We carried torches, their flames trailing long shadows. "What is this place?" I asked. "You'll see." The room was vast, filled with maps, not just east and north, but distant lands I'd never heard of. Stores of weapons, food, medicines, a massive desk buried in papers. "My war room," Eamon said. "Where plans are born, the North will never find it." He opened a cabinet, pulling out thick parchment. "What's this?" I asked. His war schemes, all to seize power. Enough to topple him? With the Northern Council, yes. Nobles may not love me, but they'll fear a king, killer. He tapped the map. The problem, I can't send this to the capital. The regent controls every road. Messengers will be caught. Then what? You, Aemon's eyes locked on mine. You're Northern. Your family has ties. You know the politics, which nobles oppose him. You want me to return north, I said, piecing it together. Yes, not as his agent, but a fugitive. You'll say you poisoned me. Bring this evidence. Claim it's my plot. The regent sent you to kill me, then framed you as a mad Eastern killer, but you escaped with proof. They'll believe me. Maybe not, but with detailed evidence, a convincing tale, they'll investigate. Once they do, the regent's game collapses. He pointed to the northern border on the map. I've contacts in northern underground. Nobles and merchants who distrust the regent. They'll aid you, protect you, get you to the council. If it fails, I asked. We die, but we die trying what's right, not bowing to darkness. I studied his face, that iron resolve. How long to prepare? 3 weeks, maybe 4. Every detail must be perfect. Coordination with contacts, no mistakes. 3 weeks, I echoed. Until then? We learn to trust, Aemon said. For this to work, we move as one, no words needed. We must, he stopped, staring. Must what? I pressed. Believe the other will sacrifice all for the cause. Betraying a kingdom is easy. Betraying him is the hard part. We met daily. No longer just at dusk mornings in the study, debating northern politics. Midday inspecting the keep's defenses. Evenings on the tower, snow-lit, plotting details. Each meeting grew intimate, not flesh, but soul. I saw the man beneath the ruler, not cold tyrant, but one groaning under power's weight. Do you still miss Lisa? I asked one noon in the library. He stared long before answering. Every day, may I see? From a hidden drawer he drew a small portrait. A girl, 17, with Aemon's eyes dark brown, but warm, innocent. She has your eyes, I said. Yes. His voice was soft. Our mother's Lisa inherited them. She looks happy, she was. He returned the portrait. Before, my hand covered his, unplanned, natural. He didn't pull away. He turned to me. You know what happens if this works? He asked. What? The regent falls, the north fractures. New conflicts, power struggles, many will die. But not the regent, I said. Number not directly, he may live, stripped of power. Aemon looked away. I once wanted vengeance, his death now. Letting him watch his empire crumble, powerless, might be worse. And you? I asked. What do you gain? Vengeance, justice, perhaps. He hesitated. Peace. You'd return to Blackstone alone. He didn't answer at once. When he did, his voice was faint. Number he left, leaving me in the library, heart racing. Snow and secrets, we needed a messenger to cross the border safely. Aemon couldn't go, his presence would alert the regent. I couldn't yet, my role kept me east. So Aemon chose Ryan. Yes, the escort captain who brought me. Not the regent's man, Aemon's spy. For years he'd feigned loyalty, gathering the regent's secrets. Why lie to me? I asked when Aemon explained. He couldn't risk you knowing, even unintentionally, you were a threat. Ryan met us in the war room. Second week, he listened as Aemon outlined the plan. Dangerous, Ryan said. If caught, I'm dead. I know, Aemon replied. But you're the only one trusted by both the regent and me. I'll do it, Ryan said. He looked at me. But I need the lady's letter. Proof, she's allied with the Duke. Without it, no Northern will trust a stranger's evidence. That night, I wrote, harder than expected. Not just facts, persuasion, convincing nobles who didn't know me, who'd see me as a traitor, that the regent was a murderer, a tyrant. I drafted. Again and again. Aemon rejected each. Too blunt, he said once. Nobles distrust bold claims. Too complex, he said another. They need to follow your logic. After a dozen tries, we had it a truth framed as a fugitive's desperate cry. Signing it, I knew what I did. I branded myself a traitor. If we failed, my name would mean treason, my family shamed, but I signed. You should be inside, Eamon said, draping his cloak over my shoulders. I'm thinking, I said. What if it goes wrong? It will, Eamon said calmly. Something always does. That's life. Then why try? Because failure doesn't lessen success's worth. He leaned on the parapet, gazing out. When Lisa lived, I thought I knew value power, safety, stability. Her death showed their fragility. What's valuable now? Now, he looked at me. Truth, doing right, whatever the cost, and he didn't finish. He lifted my chin, eyes meeting mine. This, he said, his lips brushing mine. Not a demand, not a command. A promise, a question, an answer. I didn't pull back. I felt it, his warmth, his grief, our redefining of selves, of us. When we parted, he drew me into his arms, my face against his chest, his heartbeat fierce, alive. Betraying a kingdom is easy, he whispered, fingers in my hair. We're doing harder, we're betraying safety, betraying what we were taught to guard. Why? I asked. Why the hard path? Because right sometimes means betraying all you know. We stood long in that winter night, his cloak our armor. But we knew no armor could save us. From now on, we faced risk bare. Next morning, Ryan rode out, my letter and Eamon's evidence in hand, through snow toward the north. We didn't know if he'd succeed. What fate awaited, we could only wait. Snow melts, but what's between us is forever changed. 3 days after Ryan left, the storm hit. No ordinary snow, a tempest, sky and earth at war. Flakes lashed like blades, wind screamed around the keep, tortured souls. How long will it last? I asked Eamon at breakfast. 3 days at least, maybe more. He was calm, but his fingers drummed the table. Borders will close. No one passes, including Ryan. Including Ryan. We knew what it meant. Ryan was trapped in, village cellar or frozen wastes. The evidence, my letter, all at risk. Will he survive? I asked. Perhaps. Eamon stopped drumming, but even if he does, the regent will wonder why a trusted man vanished now. What do we do? Eamon didn't answer. He stood, left the hall. Trapped moments, the storm locked us in the keep. The world vanished, sky and ground blurred into endless white. Every window a smeared veil. But confinement here was worse than the tower. No, the keep teemed guards, maids, clerks, cooks, questions brewed. Why was the Duke agitated? Why did the northern woman roam free? Why was Ryan sent in such weather? Rumors spread like plague. Some said I was a caught spy, Eamon deciding my fate. Others, a witch, my presence cursing the storm. Some claimed Ryan was sent to kill me, on the regent's orders. By the second evening, Eamon found me. We changed tactics, he said, weary, as if sleepless. These rumors hurt us, the regent will hear, he'll suspect. What then? We make your presence public, not a captive spy. But, he paused, choosing words, my guest, a woman I invited to discuss peace between North and East. Your guest, I echoed. Yes, one I find intriguing. He stepped closer. One I've begun to care for. They'll believe it, if I make them. He offered his hand. Tomorrow, dine with me in the hall. All will see. Wear Eastern clothes. Sit at my side. You want them to think we're something. They already do. His gaze was deep. We turn whispers to truth on the surface. If the regent hears. Better, he'll think I'm enchanted, irrational. That you've done your job. He'll lower his guard. In the public eye next evening, I wore an Eastern gown, deep blue, silver embroidered. Northern dresses hid the body. Eastern ones shaped it, bold yet elegant. My hair, loose, framed my face like a stranger's. I entered the hall. Aemon at my side. Eyes followed, curious, suspicious, envious. I smiled, light, practiced, a guest, not a prisoner. We dined. Aemon spoke of peace, of trade, of my insights into northern ways. I played my part, charming, thoughtful, never overeager. Whispers grew. She's his lover. No, his advisor. No, his captive. Playing a game after. In private, Aemon said. It worked. They believe what they want. And the regent. When his spies report, he'll think I'm his puppet, that you've won my trust. He'll wait for your poison. I shivered. Not from cold. The return plan 2 weeks later, a message came regent's spies, offering an escort to bring me home. Aemon had arranged it. A test. They'll watch me, I said. Yes, but you'll return as his loyal tool. You'll say I'm planning war, that you've learned my secrets. You'll buy time. We planned in the war room. I'd carry false reports, convincing lies about Aemon's invasion. Enough to keep the regent complacent. When you reach the north, Aemon said, contact the underground, a tavern in the capital. A phrase only they know. They'll guide you to the council with the real evidence. If I'm caught, you won't be. Not yet. His voice was steel. But when you return, he stopped. When I return, you'll be in his hands again, the man who sees you as a pawn. His jaw tightened. That's the hardest part, I asked, to face him in danger. Why not flee together? I asked. Leave kingdom's power, because some things matter more than personal freedom. He pulled me close. The north suffers under him, the east too, if we run. He continues torments, kills. He paused. Love sometimes means doing what you hate. Love means parting. You ask me to do what I don't want. Yes, to leave you, yes. Tears came, I let them fall, like melting snow. Aemon held me, kissing my brow. If we survive, he whispered. If he falls, if the north is free, then, perhaps, a future. Perhaps, I asked. Certainty is too bold. Power won't let us go, but perhaps keeps me alive. Preparations and promises, 2 days to prepare my departure. Aemon gave me a new identity, false papers, an eastern noble's daughter, sent to wed a minor northern lord, complex, believable, hard for the regent's spies to unravel. A secret too, ours alone, a capital tavern's address, a phrase for the underground. Say it wrong, Aemon warned, and you die. I'll remember, even under torture. Even then. The second night we spent on the tower. Little talk, just sitting, watching stars, darkness, hands clasped, like drowning souls saving each other. If I don't survive? I asked. I'll make the regent pay. If you don't, then at least one person truly saw me. One betrayed her king for justice. One loved me not for power, not wealth, but for, he couldn't finish. For what? I pressed. For me, just me. I left before dawn. The spies' escort arrived, not courtesy, but to ensure I didn't flee. Aemon bid me farewell in the hall, public like a man tiring of a mistress. But as he took my hand, he slipped something into my palm. Small, he didn't look at me. Farewell, Eleanor. Be safe in the north. Only after we left the keep, forests hiding Blackstone spires, did I open my hand. A tiny ring, blue sapphire, old Eastern craft, an heirloom. Inside, an engraving, for the one who burns from the one now cold. I returned as a pawn, I left as a blade. The journey north took 9 days. Snow had melted into slush. Roads turned to rivers of mud. The regent's escort, 6 men, silent, watchful, rode like hounds on a scent. They called me Lady Eleanor, but their eyes said prisoner. I carried 2 sets of documents. 1. The false reports. Aemon prepared maps of imaginary Eastern armies. Letters forged in his hand. Proof of invasion. Enough to convince the regent I'd succeeded. 2. The real evidence sewn into the lining of my cloak. Pages brittle with age, ink faded but legible. The regent's signature on orders to poison the old king. A ledger of bribes. A letter commanding Aaron to kill Lisa. Every crime stamped with his seal. If they searched me and found the second set, I was dead before the gallows. The capital, the city had changed. Where once banners of gold and blue flew for the king, now only the regent's black, and crimson standard snapped in the wind. The palace gates were guarded by men in his colors. The people walked with eyes down, voices low. I was brought not to the palace, but to a manor on the city's edge, his private residence. No public audience, no triumph. He wanted me alone. The regent's welcome, he waited in a candlelit study, seated behind a desk of carved ebony, older than I remembered, but no less sharp, his eyes pale gray, like winter skies, cut through me the moment I entered. "Eleanor," he said, voice smooth as oil. "You've returned," I curtsied. "My lord." "Sit." I obeyed. The chair was low. He towered above me. "You were gone long," he said. "I feared the Duke had disposed of you." "He tried," I lied. "I convinced him I was loyal, that I hated the North, that I'd serve him." "And did you?" "Yes." He leaned forward. "Show me." I placed the false reports on the desk. He read slowly, lips curling into a smile. "Excellent," he murmured. "Troop movements, supply lines. Even a date 3 months from now. He's bolder than I thought." "He trusts me," I said, completely. "Good." He folded the papers. "And the poison?" "I administered it 3 nights before I left. Slow, acting. He'll sicken in a week, die in 2. The regent's smile widened. "Perfect. The East will be blamed. The nobles will rally. And you," he reached out, touched my cheek. "You will be rewarded. Your family safe. A title, land. Whatever you desire." I lowered my eyes. "Thank you, my lord." But inside, I burned. The underground that night. I slipped out. The city was under curfew, but I knew the alleys. A cloak, a hood, a dagger at my belt. The tavern was in the old quarter, the Broken Crown, a place for smugglers, exiles, and those who hated the regent. I entered through the back. The air stank of ale and smoke. A one-eyed man behind the bar looked up. I leaned close and whispered the phrase Aemon had given me. "The snow remembers the fire." The man's eye narrowed. Then he nodded toward a door. Downstairs, in a cellar lit by a single lamp, waited 3 people. A woman with a scar across her throat. A young man with ink-stained fingers. An old noble I recognized, Lord Harrow, once the king's advisor, now retired. "You're Eleanor," the woman said. Her voice was gravel. "The Duke's woman." "I was," I said. "Now I'm yours." I opened my cloak, revealing the hidden documents. Lord Harrow took them with trembling hands. "Gods," he whispered as he read. "It's all here. Everything. Can you get it to the council?" I asked. "We can," the young man said, "but not yet. The regent's men are everywhere. We need a public moment when the nobles are gathered, when he can't silence us." "When?" I asked. 2 weeks, Lord Harrow said. "The spring feast, every lord, every lady. The king will be there if he lives. We'll present the evidence then. And me. You'll testify," the woman said. "Publicly your word, with these documents, will break him." I nodded. "I'll be ready." The waiting game the next days were agony. I lived in the manor, under guard. The regent visited, often charming, attentive, like a man courting a bride. He spoke of the future of war, of my role as his eyes in the East. He never suspected, but I saw the cracks. Servants whispered. Guards drank. The city simmered with unrest. The king was dying, everyone knew. The regent's grip tightened, but it was brittle. I waited. Truth is a blade, wield it once, and everything changes. The spring feast was held in the great hall, crystal chandeliers, silk banners, music that tried to drown the tension, The king sat on his throne, skeletal, eyes glazed. The regent stood beside him, smiling like a wolf. I wore crimson, his color. A statement. I am his. But beneath my gown, strapped to my thigh, was a dagger, and in my sleeve a copy of the evidence. The nobles feasted, toasts were made. The regent spoke of unity and strength in the eastern threat. Then Lord Harrow stood. "My lords and ladies," he said, voice carrying, "I bring grave news." The hall quieted. He held up the documents, proof that the regent murdered our king, that he poisoned Princess Lisa, that he plans war not for defense, but for power. Gasps, murmurs. The regent's face went white. "Lies," he shouted. "Treason!" But Harrow was ready. Guards loyal to the underground moved to block the doors. I stepped forward. "It's true," I said. My voice didn't shake. "I was sent to the east to poison Duke Aemon, to start a war. But I learned the truth, and I brought it back." I threw the documents onto the table, pages scattered like leaves. The regent lunged for me, but the nobles were already reading, already believing. Chaos erupted. The fall, they arrested him that night, not with ceremony, with chains. Dragged from the hall as he screamed threats and curses. The king, barely conscious, signed the order with a trembling hand. The underground had won, but victory tasted like ash. Some endings are not happy, they are just true. 3 months later, the North was free, but wounded. A new council ruled nobles, merchants, even commoners. The king had died a week after the feast. No heir, no war. I stood in the palace garden, watching the first green of spring, footsteps behind me. I turned. Aemon. He looked different, thinner. Older, the weight of rule still on him, but lighter now. "You came," I said. "I had to." He stopped a pace away. The East and North signed peace. Trade, borders open. No more blood, and you. "I'm stepping down," he said. "Blackstone will have a new duke. I'm tired." I nodded. I understood. "And you?" he asked. I testified. "My family is safe. The council pardoned me. I'm free." He stepped closer. "Then come with me." "Where?" "Anywhere. Nowhere. Just away." I looked at him, at the man who'd seen me, truly seen me, who'd trusted me with his life, who'd loved me not as a pawn, but as a person. I took his hand. Yes. Epilogue. The ring years later, in a small cottage by the sea, far from kingdoms and thrones, I found the ring again. The sapphire had cracked, but the engraving remained, for the one who burns from the one now cold. I smiled. Aemon was in the garden, planting roses. His hair was gray now. His hands, once stained with blood, now cradled earth. I slipped the ring onto his finger. He looked up, eyes soft. "Still fits," he said. "Some things do," I replied. We didn't speak of the past, of the regent, hanged in the capital square, of Lisa, buried with honors, of the wars that never came. We spoke of the weather, of the roses, of the child we'd adopted. Asleep inside, some stories end in fire. Ours ended in quiet. And that was enough. The Three Kingdoms in Turmoil. Viewpoint 1. The Regent's Secret Chamber. Time. The second day of Eleanor's captivity. Regent Count Sherman sat in his private study, ringed by 5 messengers. Each hailed from a different corner of the realm, and each bore ill tidings. "Say it again," the regent murmured, voice soft as a blade drawn across silk. "You lost the courier." "No trace, my lord. The blizzard swallowed every track. We followed to the northern border, then nothing." The man faltered, knowing more words would only tighten the noose. The regent lifted a crystal goblet, red wine within, then hurled it against the wall. Crimson splashed like blood. "Then we must assume the evidence has reached the Northern Council," he said. "Not a question. Someone is reading proofs of how I poisoned the old king. Someone plots my impeachment." He rose and stalked to a grand portrait, the late king, frail and gray. "This man," the regent spat, venom in every syllable, "spent 30 years bleeding the realm dry, too gentle, too merciful, too human. He wheeled on the messengers, so I did what had to be done. I secured the kingdom's survival. I kept power in hands that could wield it. Aye, my lord. But if the council learns, what will they learn? The regent cut in. An old king dead of a rare sickness. A physician's report penned by a man now conveniently dead. Nothing that proves a thing. Unless the evidence. The regent stepped close. Scraps of parchment. Forgeries I can denounce. A woman's word, she who is traitor and liar both. A glint sparked in his eye. In truth, it is perfect. I had Eleanor pen a letter recanting all. She claims the proofs are Amon's cunning lies. I have given the council a choice, trust a turncoat girl, or trust my envoys. Many northern lords hunger to topple you, the messenger dared. True, the regent allowed. Which is why I act. He crossed to a cabinet and drew forth 3 sealed letters. These leave at once, the first to Duke Grey, the mightiest lord in the north, the second to the High Septon, the third to certain friends in the east. What message, my lord? The first explains the proofs are false, yet hints at Duke Grey's own private sins enough to buy his silence. The regent's smile was poison. The second pledges gold to the faith for public blessing. Holy sanction weds my rule to legitimacy. And the third? The third is Amon's ultimatum. Surrender within 3 days. Come north and kneel before me. Or I brand the east as backers of northern revolt and unleash total war. I will raze his lands, enslave his people, turn Blackstone keep to ash. The regent sank back into his chair, suddenly weary. Go, he said. But first fetch Aaron, I would speak with my former bride. Viewpoint 2. The Northern Council's hidden chamber time. The same day, the Northern Capital, the Council's inner sanctum, was a place few ever entered. Here power gathered not in grand halls, but deep in stone, far from prying eyes. Duke Grey sat in a black oak chair, face carved from ice. On the table before him lay Ryan's report, the courier's damning account of the regent's every crime. Is it true? Grey asked, voice cold as winter steel. Beside him sat Calvi, the council's ancient secretary, 40 years in the post, witness to every shift of thrones. The seals are genuine, Calvi said. The hand matches the late king's own, and the courier will swear to it in open court. But the regent calls it all lies, Grey said. Amon's plot to sow chaos for an eastern invasion. Of course he does, Calvi replied. A king, killer denies his blade. The question is how many lords will believe him. Enough, Grey said grimly. I received a private letter from the regent, full of threats. Hints that certain secrets of mine will surface if I back an inquiry. Calvi's brow furrowed. What secrets? None of your concern, Grey snapped. But if they spill, I lose my titles, my house falls. I am finished in the north. So you stay silent. I do not know. Grey rose and crossed to the window. Snow fell, cloaking the city in dreamlike white. I weigh my house, my duty, but I also weigh. He fell silent. Weigh what? Calvi pressed. What the north might be without the regent. Viewpoint 3. Blackstone keep time. The same day, the East Amon sat in his war room, maps and letters strewn about. His face might have been hewn from granite cold, hard, unyielding. Yet his hands trembled, the door opened. Maury, his grizzled chief counselor, stepped in. Word just came, Maury said. Eleanor is taken. She is held in the northern palace. Amon's frame went rigid. He said nothing, only shut his eyes. My lord. Maury drew nearer. What do we do, Ryan? He succeeded. The proofs are safe with the council. Maury hesitated. But the regent sows doubt. He brands the evidence false. He threatens the northern lords. Aaron, taken as well. Her fate unknown. Amon opened his eyes, gates to hell. The regent sent an ultimatum. Maury went on. Surrender in 3 days, or he wages total war on the east. 3 days? Amon's laugh held no mirth. He thinks 3 days will break me. My lord, if the council believes him, then we face a united foe, north and regent against east. Aemon stood and crossed to the map. I foresaw this, so flee, or fight. Aemon's finger stabbed the map at the northern capital. We did what the regent never expected, he said. We planted doubt. The council now stands at a crossroads, believe the regent and call proofs false. Or probe, and question a man they fear. That buys us little, Mori said. Enough, Aemon agreed. Enough for what I must do. Which is, Aemon's eyes darkened. I ride north, I speak to the council face to face. I prove I am no enemy. But above all, I'll save Eleanor. Mori paled. My lord, that is suicide. The regent waits to clap you in irons. I know. Aemon drew an Eastern Knight's cloak from a cabinet, but perhaps that is the one move he never foresaw. Perhaps it proves my honor. You will die, Mori said. Perhaps. Aemon flung the cloak about his shoulders. But I will die a man, not a cur, and if any chance remains I live. He paused, hand over his heart as if feeling something unseen. Then there is reason yet to fight. Viewpoint 4, beneath the northern palace time. Night the same day Aaron sat in a cell more lavish than Eleanor's a real bed. Books, even a window to the sky, yet the comfort only sharpened the cage. She knew the regent would come, knew he would pry. She had her answers ready. The door opened. The regent entered as if it were his own solar. Aaron, he said, tone light as old comrades. I hear you have been cooperative. I have nothing to tell, Aaron said, save what you already know. Perhaps, but I seek your thoughts on one matter. He took the chair opposite. Eleanor, do you truly believe she would betray Aemon for her sister's sake? Aaron studied him long. She could lie, claim Eleanor too selfish, too frightened. But she had learned the worth of truth. No, she said, she would not. The regent's face did not change. Oh, why? Because I know her, because I see what lives in a woman's heart. Eleanor has learned there are things greater than survival. She has learned love. Aaron paused. As have I. Love? The regent sneered. Love weakens men. Love is power's foe. Perhaps that is why you cannot grasp it, Aaron said. Why you cannot predict what men will do. You cut love from your soul. The regent's face turned to ice. He rose and walked to the door. At the threshold he paused. Eleanor will write that letter, he said. She will do anything for her sister. You are wrong, perhaps, Aaron said. But even if she does, it changes nothing. Aemon will not yield, the council will see truth in the end, and you will lose. The regent turned, a faint smile on his lips. You know, Aaron, though you have betrayed me utterly, turned enemy, I still find our talks diverting. He paused. That is why I spare you for now. I wish to see your face when your grand plan crumbles. He left. Aaron sat alone in her gilded cage. Viewpoint 5, the northern border time. Before dawn, the same day a small escort crossed the snows. 5 soldiers and 1 cloaked figure, shrouded in shadow and flake. Duke Aemon entered the north. None knew he came. None awaited him. A humble guard, a humble plan. At the border he halted, glanced back toward the east toward Blackstone Keep. He knew not if he would return alive, knew not if he would see those towers again, but he knew he must. Eleanor waited in the north under the regent's eye. Every minute slipped away. If he did nothing, all was lost, so he turned north, snapped his fingers, and the escort pressed on. Snow filled his tracks behind him, proof he had lived, proof he had walked into a trap he might never escape. Viewpoint 6, a room in the northern palace time, dawn, the same day Eleanor woke to find Marlene still asleep. Her sister curled on the far side of the bed, face innocent, fragile, unguarded. Eleanor crossed to the window and watched the sunrise. Northern dawns were gentler than eastern ones, softer, sadder. She thought of Aemon, wondered if he knew she was taken, wondered if he still held to the plan or if he had let go. Her fingers brushed the ring at her breast. Aemon's ring, hidden beneath her gown, pressed to her heart. Their last link, suddenly. Clamor in the hall, boots running, voices shouting. Something had happened, something had shifted. Power is not destroyed, it merely changes hands. The regent's trial came 3 moons after his flight. He was never caught. Sightings came often, yet each proved false. He had become a ghost, a legend, a cautionary tale, a monster parents whispered of to children. Still, the trial went forward. The Northern Council chose a trial in absentia, to name a missing man's crimes, to etch them in stone, to ensure history remembered, even if he never heard the charges. It was for the North itself, for truth carved deep. I was called to testify. I stood in the council's great hall, every eye upon me, and spoke it all. How the regent threatened me, how he sent me to kill Aemon, how he sought to bend me to his will. This time I spoke of love, for now it mattered. Now it was no longer secret. I told how Aemon loved a murdered sister, how Aaron was forced to poison, then punished by the regent. How many lives were shattered for one man's hunger. When I finished, silence reigned. Then Grey rose. In this trial we find Regent Count Sherman guilty. He let the words sink like stones. Guilty of a king's murder, guilty of poisoning an innocent girl, guilty of plotting to twist 2 realms, guilty of forcing a woman to become assassin. Thus, Calvi continued, we proclaim Count Sherman traitor and kingslayer. All titles stripped, all lands seized, all power torn away. Wherever he is found in this world, any man may carry out this sentence. Alice finished. He escaped, but he has nowhere to run. The regent slipped free on the 3rd night. None saw him go. A hidden passage in his chambers built in secret years before led beyond the walls to a stream, to endless dark. By the time guards found the empty room, it was too late. Where did he flee? Grey demanded when word came. We know not, Calvi replied. Reports speak of a small band crossing the western border before dawn, him or a decoy. Aemon and I heard the news in the great hall. Aemon's face stayed stone, but his fists clenched. Where will he go? I asked. Anywhere far from the north. Aemon strode toward the door, to a city in the south with old allies, an island. Perhaps even back to the east, though that would be suicide. Will you hunt him? Aemon halted. No, he said. Chasing a man with nothing left breeds only more blood, more death. Then he walks free. He flees, Aemon corrected. Freedom has a home to return to. A fugitive never stops running. The regent's rode meanwhile. The regent rode through snow. He wore a traveler's rough cloak, astride a black horse. Alone, no escort, no servants, just an old man with gray beard clinging to life in a frozen world. He thought of all he had lost, power, honor. The North, he thought of what he had done for it. Slain a king, poisoned a girl, sought to twist 2 kingdoms. And for what? To ride through snow, hunted by all. He thought of Eleanor, where she was now, if she hated him. Perhaps she should. He thought of Aaron, in the north, tended by healers, mending from his cruelty. At least she lived. At least she had a chance to rebuild. He thought of the old king, the gentle man he had killed. Perhaps the king had been right. Perhaps power should not be guarded at any cost. Perhaps some things matter more than survival. 3 days on, the regent reached a remote town. Poor, forgotten, no one would seek a kingslayer here. He sat in a dim tavern buying hot wine with his last gold. The barkeep eyed him without interest. What are you running from? What? The regent looked up. I've seen plenty, the barkeep said. Some walk forward, some back, but some like you are running, always wonder what from. The regent said nothing, he drank. My counsel, the barkeep went on. Run far enough, no one recalls your face, then stop, settle. Find a woman, plant a crop, forget. You think forgetting possible? The regent asked. No, the barkeep said. But you can try. The regent left the tavern. He planted no crop, found no woman, forgot nothing, he rode on. Flight had become the only thing left to him. Flight was the last skill he still owned. In the north steadied swiftly. No civil war, no fresh strife. Grey was named interim regent until a new king could be chosen. A distant cousin of the late King Young, gentle, seemingly free of ambition, was selected. Healing began, slow but sure. Trod stirred. Women falsely branded witches were pardoned, their kin compensated, shattered lives rebuilt where possible. Yet healing takes time. Always, my family was fully restored. My father granted true trade rights, no longer the regent's lies. My brother named a judge. My sister sent to school. But I was no longer a merchant's daughter. I became a symbol of defiance, of a woman who chose truth over ease. Folk pointed in the streets. Tales spread, some true, some woven, most a blend. I learned to loathe fame. Aemon and Eleanor. Aemon lingered in the north 2 moons. He bargained with the council, forging new peace between east and north. No more war, no rivalry, just 2 realms agreeing to honor borders. In those moons, he and I spent much time together. We walked corridors Saturday in the palace library, strolled through northern winters. We spoke of all and nothing. We did not speak of the future, of what we would become. We lived in the moment, savoring the freedom to hide nothing. Yet at last, Aemon had to return east. The east needed its lord. Blackstone Keep needed him. His people needed him. The night before he left, we met on the castle balcony. I do not wish to say farewell, he said. Then don't, I answered. But I must go, I know. Aemon took both my hands. Come with me to the east. I cannot. Why? The north needs me now. My family needs me. Too much remains broken. And if I leave now, they will say I ran, say I fled the truth. So this is goodbye. No, I said, I do not believe in endings. Aemon kissed me. The kiss held every word we could not speak. Promise, pain, hope, compromise. If you change your mind, he said as we parted, if you wish the east, I know where to find you. Chapter 12. Judgment from the tower. Power is not destroyed. It only shifts form. Epilogue. 1 year later, I stand in a high tower. Not Blackstone's, but a smaller one. I have an office here now, official advisor to the council, on Eastern ties and peace. A life I never dreamed, yet one I chose, for choices, in time, become your own. Marlene visits often. She studies politics and diplomacy. She has a gift, a sharp mind. One day she may be a negotiator, a builder, a maker of peace between realms. Erin visits too, healed from her wounds. Scars fade. She holds a quiet post in the palace, chosen, not forced. She seeks atonement. I honor that. I receive letters from Aemon, Manny letters, penned on Eastern parchment. In Eastern ink, in his hand I would know it anywhere. He writes of Blackstone, of reforms, of building rule not on fear, of how he misses me. In the last letter, he wrote, Eleanor, if you never come east, I will understand. Stay in the north, do what is asked. Build what you will, but know this tower stands open to you, not as prison, but as home. If you change your mind, I will be waiting. Ever Aemon. I read it daily. I have not answered, not from unwillingness, but uncertainty. I remain here. I do my work, I build yet. Some nights I stand at the window, gazing east, wondering what the tower looks like now, wondering what life would be beside a man I chose for love, wondering if 2 lives can ever truly join. Perhaps one day I will know. Perhaps one day I will stop running, stop building, stop doing what I should, and let myself want something simply because I want it. But not now. Now, there is still work to be done. Epilogue. In the east, Aemon sits atop Blackstone Keep, watching eastern sunset. The place has changed. Not the stone and tower, but the spirit. What it stands for. No more fear. No more secrets. No forbidden love. Only a man, a keep, and a realm torn down and slowly rising anew. He touches his breast, a copy of the sapphire ring. Not the original that remains with Eleanor, but one he crafted, the same, yet reversed engraved with opposite words. For the one now cold from the one who burns. Mori enters behind him. A messenger from the north, he says. Aemon turns. What word? None, only a parcel. Mori hands him a small bundle wrapped in northern cloth. Aemon opens it. Inside, a tiny white flower one that should not bloom in winter. A spring bloom, a signal, a promise, a way to say perhaps. Aemon smiles. Possible? Mori asks. Possible, Aemon says. Perhaps. Epilogue. In the regent's cell, the regent was taken at last. Not by northern soldiers, not by eastern knights, but by a simple hunter who knew the wanted face and turned him in for gold. The regent offered no fight. He was too weary, too old. Power had fled, leaving only a man who had done terrible deeds. He was locked in an underground cell much like the one where he once held Eleanor. Here, in darkness, he awaits the axe. He thinks of Lisa, of Eleanor, of Aaron, of all he harmed. He recalls the barkeep's words about forgetting. The regent knows now it is too late. He cannot forget, cannot forgive himself, cannot find redemption. He is only an old man awaiting death in the dark. A man who once held power, now left with nothing but regret. Epilogue. The wheel of power is not destroyed. It only changes shape. The regent's power is gone, but the Northern Council holds power. The new king holds power. Grey holds power. Aemon keeps his, but reshaped no longer fear and secrecy, but diplomacy and building. Eleanor has gained a new power, not the kind she once dreamed, but better, the power to speak truth, to be heard, to change things. Aaron has the smallest power, yet perhaps the greatest atonement, the slow strength to forgive herself in north, east, and all between. Power flows into new hands. Some learn to use it for good. Some are still learning. Some perhaps never will. But the wheel turns, for that is power's way. It never truly ends. It only spins from hand to hand, again and again, forever.